just to prevent us.
Well, hello everyone, and we have a really special guest tonight, all the way from New Zealand. And we're going to be talking about, style and clothing and, some of the things that we want to do for all of us is to put our best foot forward with that's what we've been taught. And I'm one of those guys that I would come out of the bedroom and my wife would look at me and she would go, "You're not going out in public like that, are you?" I go, obviously not. So you tell me what to take off and what to put on. And, that it was just one of those things. And Nina is with us. Nina, I have been so impressed with the times that we've been able to connect. And, we're going to really kick this off with I wanted to build a foundation with this talk tonight of what is style? How do we know that our style is our right style? What are we looking for? What does it really mean? And I'm just going to turn it over to you, Nina, and we'll have a conversation.
Yeah, I love that. You're so right. Style can mean a million things to a million people. So I think that's where your question is coming from is let's get on the same page around what we mean by style. And if you pick up a magazine, it means one thing. If you talk to your best friend, it means something else. And we might think it's, all the looks in our closet. But essentially, when I talk about style, I mean your clothes, shoes, and accessories. And yeah, that is part of, and I love Karen's going, yes, yes, let's talk about clothes, let's talk about shoes, let's talk about accessories. We're in the right room. This is fun. It's the way, I guess that's the practical element of, but then the personal element is how that connects with you, your credibility, the message and the presence that you are bringing to a space, to a room. So it's got, it's doing something in our thoughts and our emotions, and it's a practical, physical, visible expression of something. So I know we're going to dig into that.
And Crosby has to have a say in the room. Um, so let's do this. Do you want to separate it out from women and men or do the combination? We could go because we were talking beforehand. My concept is for men, we're so much simpler. I know, ladies, you think we're simple anyway, but we truly are.
Not
It is, but in style and clothing and how we represent ourselves, uh, I've always found it much more difficult for my female clients to really find their brand, their the things that they like and feel good about, and also have that ability to show up in consistently.
So yeah, there's the female conversation, there's a conversation about female style, and there's the conversation about male style. I think what you're saying is that you've noticed it's a bigger conversation with women.
Yeah,
And
so let's
yeah,
start there.
yeah, I love that. And I have noticed that it is a bigger conversation. There are more female body shapes than there are men's body shapes. So women have more considerations. Women are also more affected by color and pattern and design in general, according to different pieces of research. So we are more, I guess, personally connected to what we wear. And often I see that in conversations with men and women. So my business is niche towards women because the conversation is quite different. So in my marketing and in my, how I present, it's a completely different conversation to if I was serving men. And yeah, what I've noticed that I do have men come into my world, and I serve them in different contexts sometimes, and I occasionally have the opportunity to dress men. And I noticed that they're kind of like, there's a few key things. What's the right thing for this setting? So wanting to make sure that they're hitting the right note. And then they want to be sure that they've got, that they're not making any bad fashion mistakes, basically. So am I, doing the right colors? Um, does this look okay? And then it'll be let me buy five of them and just wear them for, on a rotation. I remember once meeting a guy who had his outfit sorted out for a fortnight. So he'd wear if you caught him Monday next week, he'd be wearing the same thing in Monday 2 weeks from then. He had his schedule and he loved this order, and I just thought to myself, I could never dress like that. But that worked for him, one example. Yeah, so I don't think that I think the principles are still the same in terms of how we turn up our presence, our credibility, what people are looking for to understand us. But with women, there are more decisions to make around how you get to that.
There was another side question that just popped into my mind.
Yeah.
When we're dealing with brands and colors and everything, we want it to be as much evergreen as possible because we don't, if we change every 6 months or every year or through the seasons, we can confuse an audience in our marketing pictures. So, do
Mm.
you have a rule of thumb on how to do that?
Yes, I call it my style persona system. So, and there are other systems, but mine is connected to your personality. So essentially, if you align your brand with your personality in terms of your colors, the features, the visual elements of your brand, that is evergreen. That's always going to be how you show up. The core traits are open-mindedness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness. Those are the four core traits that have an impact, and you can tell those things by someone's style to a certain degree. So the main thing is that you feel very aligned and connected with that. So it's perpetual. It's going to feel fantastic for a long time to come.
Cool. So, what would you say? What? How does someone come around to
Turn Epic on your tablet, please. Turn Epic on your tablet, please.
what their style is?
How does someone arrive at their style?
Yeah, how do you
Yeah.
determine what's right for me? Because I know that we're bombarded with media and this is the style for this year. It's all marketing for what they want you to buy.
Yeah,
How
that's
do we
right.
determine what's right for us?
Oh, and this is such a key question. There's a huge business of fashion, and I find we so easily get lost in that business of fashion, in magazines, in what people want to buy, in trends. But when you're in your own style, you feel more authentic. And I was saying to you earlier, Gary, it's like wearing the second skin of a superhero. That's how you want to feel. You want to feel like this is so good, this is so me, this fits so beautifully, I feel powerful, all these things are available to us when the style is authentically yours. And that's why it really matters so much, I think. And yeah, to get there, so let's say there are at a basic, there are 720 personal styles, and I'll break down what I mean by that. There are 5 different body shapes for women, so I'm talking about women mainly. The same is going to apply to men. There are 12 different color seasons. There are 12 different style personas, and that's just one way of capturing your authentic connection with your style. So add those all up, multiply them, and you get 720. And that's just your basic elements of style. And people can be different in all those different ways. But those are the 3 keys, is to firstly understand your style persona, or you might call it style personality, the style essence. What is your particular direction in your style? And we can individualize it a lot more than your style persona. That's really your most basic level. What is your color palette? So you can wear colors that are really aligned. And then what is your body shape? So you can wear pieces that are flattering. And when you get to those 3, that's when your style feels you're halfway there, like you're almost there to having authoritative style. So you want to get to that consistently, and then we could talk more about the difference between authentic style and authoritative style. But yeah, if you understand those 3 things, that's what gives you this gorgeous sense of alignment of like, this is the second skin of a superhero. I just feel so good. let me at it. I want to just conquer the world. I'm so ready.
With Cheryl and I, when we do the speaker boot camp, we say when you look in the mirror on your way out the door, you got to say, "Damn."
Yeah, you want to say, hey, I look
It's
good. I look fantastic. I look, and it's just such a great feeling.
so one
Yeah.
of the things that I think is in, I'm looking at who's here tonight. Everyone here is a speaker in some way.
Amazing.
And we know that people make a decision whether they like it or not within that 2.5, 3 seconds of first
Yes.
seeing it. So that basically is walking on stage.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, we have not scripted anything tonight. This is
Conversation.
all free form. And so you probably can tell. But what are some of the key things to look for? What are some of the things that we can do when we proverbial, to put on our best foot forward and have that impression that connects us to the audience?
Yeah, practical things to do. Firstly, go to your wardrobe, your closet, and look at anything that you feel frumpy in and put it away. And, you know, just find a home for it, take it out of circulation. Don't have to throw it away, but just give it some space so that it's not part of what you're choosing from. And then start going through the things that will help to get to authentic style. For some people, body shape is the key thing. Color doesn't really float their boat. So then it's asking that question, what what do I know I look good in? What do I know my figure looks good in? And when we say look good, we're thinking it's tastefully flattering, right? So you've been able to build an outfit there. It's not it could be all kinds of different tones. It could be really elevated tone, it could be smart, it could be casual, it could be anything in between. But it's that question, is it tastefully flattering? Does my figure look like a good figure in this? The best that I can be. And then go through the other things around um, what feels aligned to your coloring. People say you always look great in that color, or things that you know are not good colors to really pay attention to are black and orange. They're opposites. Black will look good on some people. If it looks good on you, orange is not your color. If orange looks good on you, black is not your color. So there's two really great extremes that you can immediately implement that will kind of give you a clue to without doing your color analysis, give you a clue to finding colors that suit you better. And then, of course, the style persona piece. Yeah.
How does someone, if anybody is like me, my wife went through the colors in the autumn and the springs and the where she goes, "Don't you see her eyes change and my face change?" I go, "No." You know,
Yeah.
again, that's above my pay grade. But for someone that is not versed in the things that you do every day, how can they go through and decide what it is that really matches their skin tone, their what brings them out that they don't look like they're about ready to die,
Yeah.
particularly when we're dealing with stage and lights, because some of that will change in the way we are seen in our colors that we're wearing because of that. So do you
That
have
is
a
so true.
process for someone to go through and say, how do I know?
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
teach around that?
Yes. So I have taught that through an online course. There's 7 steps. And maybe for your people, Gary, they could email me and I'll send you the PDF that's kind of like got the 7 steps on it so you can take it away and run with it. Um, it
We don't have a list tonight. So guys, if you want to put it in the chat, if you want those 7 steps, please do it and I'll have Rachel send it to you. Just put 7 steps in the chat and that way we know who's here.
yeah, amazing. Um,
Well, give
there
them a couple of the steps. Let's tease it.
So you want to, I think just want to, it's hanging around in my mind. I want to just address that point around the light and being on stage. So let's do that and then come back to it. The best way to look your best on stage is to be in your best colors. You can't always control the lighting in the room. And I had this happen recently. I was interviewed because I'm a consultant as well as a stylist. I was interviewed in my consulting capacity for a TV show, and I wore colors that I knew were fantastic for me. When I look back on the video, I was like, oh, that's hideous. Looks terrible, because they had put all this warm light, and that, you know, photographers love warm light because they think everyone's drawn to warm light, but it doesn't suit someone with cool tones, which is my tones. And so I just looked the worst of the worst, and I thought there's nothing I could have done, because at least I got myself into my best colors. And you know, I looked as good as I could have because the lights were not flattering to me, but I looked as good as I could. So we can't really always control that unless it's you're in your own office. And I have one of our mutual contacts, Gary, she and I did an online image review, and I just helped her to tweak her light in her office, because it does make a difference. If you can change the light in your office to be warm toned or cool toned based on what your skin tone is, you look so much healthier, and that does make a big difference to your online image. But yeah, to go back to what are the 7 steps, one of them is to look at black and orange. And so I see someone, there's a chat comment about that. I'm going to come back to that. Black is a cool color and only cool, always cool. Orange is a warm color and always warm. The only place that you'll hear it described differently is if you're talking to an artist. They'll say there's a cool orange, but that's about painting. It's not about style. So because orange is always warm, we can use it as a barometer, if you like, for whether you've got warm tones. And there are 6 palettes that are warm and 6 palettes that are cool. So it's still a fair way from getting to your perfect colors, but it at least helps you to get into the right ballpark. I like to think it's like if you were passing a test, it at least passes the test. It's not a credit or a distinction or a high distinction, but you know, you're going to get through, but rather than it making you look really washed out. So if you can get a swathe of orange and you can get a swathe of black, you know, you might have tops in different colors, and you can get yourself into what we call open shade light, which is demonstrated by me today, where I'm in front of natural light, but it's not shining on me. And you can take a photograph of yourself against those two, and then ask the question, which of these, and it will be one or the other, which of these looks most harmonized with my skin tone and with my hair tones? As in, I look most balanced. And that's essentially what we're going for with color analysis and with pulling colors in, is that you look most harmonized, as in nothing pops or is drained or washed. We can see all of your features really nicely. So that's one of the things to do. Get orange and black, take photographs in open shade, check them yourself, and decide for yourself which looks best. And yeah, and then there's the veins test, but that only really makes sense when you've done the black and the orange. And there's a composite of things you do. You really want to add them all up and make a decision once you've done all 7.
Are there do's and don'ts when it comes to fashion? And when I ask that, are there somewhat of a universal do's and don'ts?
Yes, and I've just remembered that that Bonnie had a comment about color. So can I go back to that, Gary?
Sure.
Sorry.
Oh, sure.
But neither orange or black works. And if you've got pale skin, yes, both of them could look too strong. So You're 100% right, and that's where refining it down to your specific season will help you know what your perfect colors are. So you actually get into colors that really look good, because there's different seasons. Some are light, some are bright, some are strong, some are mid-tone. So it's really about getting that better alignment.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you. And can your colors change, Karen? Yes, they can. They definitely can. Yes. So over time, your skin can change, your hair changes, as hair gets a little bit blonder, as one of my friends likes to say, with more sparkles. You end up using a different element of your swatch. I'll see if I can grab one to show you. Here we go. I have them. Here's one I didn't prepare earlier, but if this was your swatch, so this is called the True Summer. When your coloring changes, you would go more for the 80% type of color. But a lot of people make the mistake that they change their palette completely. So if they're a really strong, bright tone person, then they'll go for really pale colors once their colors change, and that's generally a mistake. You won't get a great effect from that, and it becomes even more important as your colors change. So there's another example of it where this is like a rosy pink. That's the actual pink. That's 100%. This is 80%, as in it's the same color, but it's not as intense. Yeah. So
So is
that's
that what someone would take with them when they're looking at purchasing clothes?
Yeah, exactly. You just buy one of these. So I give these, depending on your currency and where you're buying them from, it's $80 that's very well spent. I give my people a digital swatch that you can also have on your phone. And we start from there because a lot of people are online shopping. But some of my clients really love to have that and just walk into the shop and, so I can show you where to buy them from. Yeah. Yeah, but it's a really good way to get familiar with them as well, to understand what's going to feel aligned.
So uh, now I'm going to adjust my question, going to the do's and don'ts, in attaching at times as we start out and then as we get older, some of the things that a 20 something on stage can look really good in and appropriate in. And when you get to 40, 50 and above, it may not be the same. So the do's and don'ts, yeah, and it's not going to be exhaustive, but what do you see? Because I find that, averting a mistake can be as good as knowing exactly what to do.
Yeah, you're so right that when you know what not to do, it almost tells you by default what to do. It's kind of like where's the don't go there zone. And yeah, so the diplomat, Gary, I love that from Bonnie, and Karen, thank you. I'll come back to that question. Um, the yeah the this thing about age, and so let's start from what to do. The thing to do in each situation where you're wanting to have influence, let's call that you're wanting to be authoritative, there's really three aspects to it. You're attuned to the environment first and foremost. So you know what your role is, and you know what the values and the expectations and that setting is asking of you in your role. So what are the things that they are looking to you to do? If they want you to influence them, they want you to inspire them, they want you to take them on a transformation journey, they want you to advise them. These are, when we're attuned to that, that's an absolute basic. You have to tick that box. So if you make a mistake around clashing with the values, or clashing with the code, we all know that people have a degree of forgiveness around that, but at the same time, it's put a little bit of a barrier in place for them to easily do business with you and just easily slide into a transaction where they go, oh, I feel an affinity. You get how we work around here. It's easy to do business together. Let's go. So yeah, so that's where things that like say, dare I say it, looking too sexy on stage. I feel like I might be killing the golden goose here a little, or like kind of, because some people will play that up, but then others are aware that it's a it's getting in the way of their message. So yeah, it's a really delicate one to manage. I have a list of do's and don'ts for TV and stage specifically. And one of the mistakes I see people making is they don't daylight or light check their outfit. And so you've got to be aware of what your outfit looks like under bright lights. And often that's quite different to what it looks like on the stage, on, just walking on the street. And there can be some slightly embarrassing mistakes made because of that. So
Oh,
that's
we have stories.
what's that?
I said we have stories.
Yeah, you might have stories. I've seen things. And yeah, so you want to be that trusted advisor, that trusted person who rises above the expectations that people have of you and delivers over and above. So risking these things in style is just not a great idea.
So a practical, and we do have a couple of questions in the chat that we can go to because again, we want this to be applicable for you guys. When you said, check your clothes in the light, the immediate thought that I had, can you take a flashlight and shine it on the clothes, or should you stand in front of your car with high beams and have somebody look at you? Or
I love it. Yeah.
yeah,
That's a great image. Just sit in front of your car with high beams. So you want to be against a window and put your hand in the garment and see if you can see through it.
okay.
Basically. Um,
I'm good. I'm back to the practice because I'd have my wife out there in front of a car and going, "Hey, it's good," and not really get the result that you're looking for.
yeah. Yeah. You want to, yeah. So I think we all can see the problem with that one. Another one is skirt length. So if we could go to the do's and don'ts, and I think there's not ever really a mistake made by being too modest. You can't really lose points with that, but you can lose points by being too distracting at the other end, mainly because people lose the message. So I see people struggling a little bit with skirt lengths on stage, especially if you're asked to sit on a panel. And panels, are usually seats on a stage where knees are eye line. And skirts generally need to be, if you're speaking, it's a unique setting. This is different to regular life. But if you're speaking, it doesn't hurt to default towards go with a longer length rather than a shorter one.
So, since you're dealing with length, where my question was starting to go was pants or a pantsuit versus a dress.
Either or, for sure. Either or. And that's where style persona, some people will feel fantastic in a dress. Some people will feel really, aligned with a suit, whether that's a quite relaxed suit with an oversized jacket and, wide leg pants, or whether it's a power suit that's structured and tailored. There's all kinds of ways that you can wear that for your unique personality.
So let's go to, can you see the questions on the chat?
Yes. Yes. Hello, Cheryl. Good to see you. And you're showing us like all how it's done by getting your exercise in as well. I'm impressed and I want to get into this walking desk trend. Um, so does your energy and personality make a difference in how you should choose your attire? So good. So yes, different people, like there are in the 12 style personas, there are some people who are hugely dynamic. They're the bold type that's going to wear chunky jewelry. They're going to have pink flaming hair. They're going to like turn up and they love to be noticed. And that's the value and the beauty that they bring to the world is that they have a message They are the center of attention and they're so good at it, and people need them and want them to be that person. So yeah, so if they are bold in their choices, and there's ways to think about that: color patterns, textures, uh, accessories, though, and there's more descriptions than bold in the style persona quiz, which I'll drop into the chat. Then that totally makes sense, and that's what they're going to feel aligned in. That's their second skin of their superhero life. And then you've got people who are, their magic and their beauty is in their ability to be attentive and to pay attention to the room, to read the room and to click into what's going on in people's heads, and to be very aligned and relevant and in tune. And so they will be more the people who wear softer colors, who it's like their strength is like a river. They're very connected and grounded. And that comes across in all of their colors, textures, structure of their clothes, accessories as well. So that style persona, like there's a few style personas like that. And then there's the person who's super on point, hardworking, conscientious, drives things through, is that project manager who is focused and structured, brings order where there's chaos, and that person has a particular essence in their style as well, where they're really strong on lines and symmetry and clean lines, a kind of elegance about their look that they are very connected to. And then there's this open-minded person, and the style persona is the combination of is your unique combination of two of those as your primary and your secondary. But the open-minded person is very much creative ideas, can't box me in. They'll have some really fun elements in there that were completely unexpected. They'll riff on a trend. They'll do something you never saw coming. Not traditional, not conservative at all. So that's the open-minded person. So when you turn up in that personality, and that enables you to bring your energy, because you feel so much like, this is me, I'm not trying to be someone else. You're in your most powerful attire. And yeah, that's the first key way to be authentic. So we started to step up the authority ladder. If you're attuned, be attuned by not making those mistakes of getting out of touch with the values and the norms in the environment that you're speaking into. Be authentic by being aligned with your unique style, and then authoritative is the next one, which we'll get to, I'm sure, Gary.
So
Your
Karen had a
famous role model
question.
here. Sorry.
What?
I just noticed in the chat that Bonnie said Cheryl's bling is her role model. Love that.
You can see her from space.
Yeah. Cheryl.
And she talks about that too. She's very proud of it.
Love it.
Karen was asking, if you're in autumn, are you always in autumn, just different colors in the spectrum?
Yeah, so you're always so to answer this question, I have to just take 30 seconds to explain the difference between all the seasons. So, and the autumn actually has three autumns within it now. So back in the 80s, we only had winter, autumn, summer, and spring. Now we have a much finer distinction. So there's actually 3 autumns, 3 winters, 3 summers, and 3 springs. And they all differ by how deep the color is, how warm or cool the color is, and how bright or muted the colors are. So you're really getting fine distinctions now down to what's the right season. And once your season, when you had that season, we would have been able to tell your season by the time you're kind of 3 or 4, once your hair color's changed from baby hair. And then it's yours for life. The difference is just that you use slightly less intense versions of the same color. So it's really easiest if you've got a swatch to see the difference. Don't change your swatch is what I'm saying. Don't make that mistake.
So, and then Barbara asked, speaking of power suit, wearing a red one, should be more about your color palette and not just the fact that it's red.
Great comment. Great comment. Yeah, if you're wearing a power suit and it's the wrong red, then, great, you've ticked the boxes in, red power suit, but it won't be as flattering. It won't be as aligned. It won't look as good in photographs. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
So then we're coming back to Karen. Can you figure it out online, or do I have to, what is that?
Get a question myself. Lol. Love that, Karen. Yes. So I do sessions from New Zealand. There are AI tools that will give you some advice, but everyone I've tried and seen so far gets it about 30-40% wrong. So yeah, so you kind of, it's a bit of advice, but it might head you in the wrong direction. So if you got it, I would just say don't let that decide what you keep and what you throw from your wardrobe. And you can, sitting and questioning yourself kind of gives you some indication. It gets you close, but it doesn't get you down to your perfect colors. And so I have a precise, hyper precise remote system that's been remote right from the start, and where I actually take your photos and I analyze them, and it's more accurate than in person. I've had a lot of people come to me who say, "Oh, I've had my colors done. I was, X," and often they said they were winter. This is fascinating to me. I don't know why this is happening, but winter seems to be the one that people want to be the most because winter is like the one that is most commonly misplaced on people. Yeah. It's like, oh, another one that thinks they're a winter when it was just completely the wrong season for them. They're wearing orange and rust and olive green beautifully, and it's like, you're clearly not a winter. So, and yeah, they kind of get it themselves as well.
Well, in personalities, everybody wants to be an expressive, but it's not that one is better
Right.
than the other.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. That's
so,
so interesting.
and I love Karen's, setup there. Do you do things from New Zealand, work with
Yes.
people remotely? And the answer is yes, obviously.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do everything. In fact, remote makes it easier. From the style development through to the fact that clothes come to my clients' homes. Like we can look at more images, more pictures together. The coaching conversations at the beginning are so much more satisfying for people. They can kind of see how we arrived at their style. And yeah, and then clothes come to your home, and that's your home is your change room, and it becomes a lot easier. So
Well, and so I want to switch a little bit before we really open it up to all questions, because we want to have that conversation. We got Carl and Graham here. I don't want to forget the guys that were brave enough to come to a, style event. And so, what kind of things should guys be looking for?
So I think similarly, where it's the same deal that people are looking to understand, are you attuned? So I think if we didn't talk about it before, there's three main codes, if you like. We could break it down a bit more, but there's casual, business casual, and then formal. And you just kind of want to, those are good words to ask about what's the dress code if you're going into a place trying to understand what the workplace culture is. What's the general tone, and that ticks that box around being attuned. The authentic, I love it when a guy looks fantastic in his colors, and I think not everyone is fully tuned into color, but at the same time, a lot of people are, and it just brings this sense of harmony and ease and gets rid of the like kind of moments, which is the only way I can say it, where you kind of have this like little subconscious something's not right about this visual in front of me. So it's really worthwhile getting your colors done, being able to choose good colors, and yeah, and then body shape is key. So there's dressing your shape. There's a few things to pay attention to around that, which are going to be individual depending on the person's shape.
So I've got a specific question for guys. And this just happened. I saw a friend of mine, he was at a gala, they took pictures, and the coat he was wearing looked like it was his dad's. It was almost down to his fingertips, the coat length. The rules are all over the place. What do you suggest for guys in coat length, inch above the cup, whatever. So
Yeah.
I just looked at it and it just looked weird.
Yeah, it can, I know what you mean. Looked weird because it doesn't look well fitted.
Right.
So it is slightly connected to style persona in that the personas will drive whether someone looks and feels good, because what you feel good in is what you carry in a looser cut, like a sports coat that's kind of slightly bigger at the shoulders with a slightly longer jacket length, or a more fitted kind of length. So, but the length is going to be somewhere in this region, right? That's where you want your coats to finish.
So around the break of the wrist.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, kind of an inch and a half over the wrist. And yeah, then you can't go wrong with something in that range. But then how you feel in it is really important as well.
Cool. Did you have anything else you wanted to really bring to the group before we open it up to Q&A? Or we
Well,
can go, I mean, this is such a wide open topic. It's like there's, for me, no definitives, but it's an individual thing.
yeah, you're so right. It is individual, and the more individual you make it, the more connected, personal styling, it's personal. Um, so yeah, two things I'll add is that something that people really get surprised with when they've had the styling experience is, well, two things tend to surprise them, but the one that I wanted to mention is that they don't realize how much of a personal connection they have with clothes. And they don't realize, oh, it's actually more like it's kind of more like coaching. I didn't realize it was going to be so personal. It's like it's all nice stuff, but they tend, because the business of fashion has taught us that it's just about buying colors and shapes. Um, but the real power is in when you make it personal, when you connect with who you are, and then you can show up with that authenticity. Um, yeah, and then the other thing I was going to add, so the other thing that surprises people is they have more fun than they were expecting. Because I think people feel like it's going to be judgmental, because Devil Wears Prada has done us all a great favor, kind of setting us up with like Miranda Priestley's in our mind as soon as we start talking about fashion. But instead, it can be a heck of a lot of fun to really connect with what you love and start wearing it.
What
Um,
I'm really scared about is I know who that is.
yeah. But don't worry, apparently, Emily Blunt's husband's watched that movie 72 times, something like that. Yeah. So and then the other thing I wanted to share was this last layer, and I actually have these things written down. So the last step in the authority ladder of style is authoritative style. Um, and that's where you're really carrying yourself with presence, you're trusted to lead, and you feel fabulous. So it's beyond feeling present. It's feeling fabulous, feeling ready to be transformative, really feeling next level. And there's two ways to do that, and that's to be consistently authentic and aligned, authentic and attuned. So consistently, always, everywhere you turn up. So people never have a reason to question, oh, I saw you looking absolutely on point then, but then you turned up to this video call and you looked like you'd just been washing the dog, and I didn't feel like you really respected the moment. And now I'm just got a question. So that authoritative style is always, is consistently on point, consistently attuned and authentic. And it's also next level. So it's getting it's stepping into that space where you are confidently ready to be that inspirational person that people are expecting you to be. And so yeah, you don't match the tone, you elevate above the tone. There's a guy called Bob Proctor from Proctor Gallagher, a high performance institute, who has said that the fastest way to change your self-image is how you dress. And he always made sure that he was the best dressed person in the room, because it changed how he saw himself, but it also changed how other people saw him. So it's being, choosing to be next level deliberately. And that's what really takes us to authoritative, beyond, the regular, I like my style, to I'm making an impact. I'm a confident, transformational human who's really here to give you something that you've paid for that is going to be amazing.
So I could hear someone, if I said that to them, their response would be, but it's not about my ego. I don't want to have, look at me, whatever. How do you combat that with, and I agree with everything you just said. It's about owning the stage, owning the environment, owning your space, but not taking anybody else's. But how
Yeah.
would you answer that about it? Well, I don't want people to say, well, look at them.
Yeah. And so I wonder if you and I might answer it similarly, Gary. It'd be really cool to swap notes on this. I answer it by saying that whatever we're doing, however we turn up, whatever transformation we're bringing is serving people, and they need us to lead them on on that transformation. And for that, they need to imbue in us certain beliefs about us and about who we are. And if we get in the way of that, we're not helping to lead them on their journey. We're just kind of making it confusing. And really, it's like, step into the role. If you're going to be that person, step up and be that person for them, because that's serving them, that's taking them on that transformation. And, yeah, but it's only once you've done it, I think, that you realize that makes sense. It's only once you step confidently into speaking and you're there, with that audience in front of you, making a difference for them, that you realize the power in your hands, the 45 minutes that they've given you, and just that you've just got to make that awesome. You want it to be awesome for them. And when you turn up and in that first 7 seconds or 2 to 3 seconds, they have got curious and interested and felt a sense of trust and affinity, then you can go from there.
Well, I remember a story as you were saying that of my wife. And my wife is one of the ultimate introverts. So, and she worked for medical hospitals for years. And she would show up at work, and she was a department head, but she would show up, and the nurses and the doctors would pull her aside and say, how in the world do you afford that? Does your husband have a lucrative job? Is he an attorney? Is he, is he rich? And what she was doing, she was going to the secondhand stores that where people were trading in, and she was getting name brand designer labels. And it wasn't because of the designer labels she was getting it, it was she felt good in it. So it's showing up in your best self is how I would say. And that's
Mhm.
the first key of success that I teach, of be seen. And so it's not how I'm better than, but this is who I am. And for
Yeah.
like everybody else, we're in fact Seth Godin. For those of you guys that don't know Seth Godin, get the book The Purple Cow. And his story is you're in the countryside and you see all these Guernseys and they're all the same color, and all of a sudden you see the purple cow. Well, the purple cow is not better than the other cows, but you see the purple cow. And it gives you that opportunity to be curious and to be, have that draw, to be have that person go, well, who is that? What made him purple? Whatever. So yeah, it's not about ego.
No, I agree. It's almost kind of getting comfortable with the fact that we're all unique. We all have unique value. We're all, on our own mission, serving our own audience. And really thinking, there's value that I bring that no one else brings. If I don't speak in this moment, there's no one here else who's going to do that. And so that there's no one who's going to bring that value. And it's just, to me, I see it as being in service of that mission. That's why, yeah.
Well, if
I,
people don't see us, we can't help them.
exactly. Exactly.
So
And
cool.
there's a thing where people aren't Yeah, I'm not sure if I have all my thoughts on this, but I had an interesting conversation yesterday with someone who commented that her clients are have been fantastic performers in corporate, but then they find themselves getting made redundant. And at the same time, I'm kind of reading a lot of stuff, talking a lot about visibility, and about sales and marketing because I'm in business, and we're all in business. And you think, is it that people are not confident of their own value, so they're not actually selling themselves in their settings, because we're all always needing to sell ourselves in our settings. And yeah, it's just something I'm kind of wondering about, is that I think people confuse or see it as, oh, I'm putting myself above other people, or but in fact, maybe you lose the chance to serve if you don't make it really easy for people to see your value. So yeah, there we
Well,
go. Helped
I
me. Thank
think
you for
some,
giving me the chance to talk that out.
well,
The
no,
extrovert in me just kind
I,
of solved that one.
well, I think you addressed it earlier, though. You said dress to your personality, to your
Mm,
own, countenance, if you will.
mm,
And if you coordinate that with the clothing, now they're seeing you, but they're also seeing you as being safe, someone unique, someone that
yeah,
they can, for whatever reason, they relate to.
that's right. That's right. It's that safety piece that feels safe because you don't feel like someone who's pretending to be someone else. You feel like someone who's aligned. They kind of go, okay, this is who I'm thinking you're going to be based on this first impression. And then when that person turns up and actually is that person, it's just very easy to do business. Yeah.
So, are you ready to just open it up to the group?
Yeah, and I think there might be a few in
Yeah,
the
we may have
chat.
missed some. I am not the best one to watch chats, so I did my very best. But who
Yeah,
would like to bring something? Just unmute yourself and ask Nina anything you would like to.
and I'll meanwhile flick back and see if there's any that we've missed. That's great. I've got 7 steps. Yeah. Energy and personality. We did power suit, colors. And the sleeve length one, is it the same for women? Yes, roughly the same. Sleeve length can be a really powerful feature of your faultless figure body shape strategy. So whatever is right for your body shape will be different to someone else's body shape. So that's where sleeve length actually does make a difference to how you're styling your figure. So maybe the same for you, may not be. Yeah. But in general, if you're going for that long jacket, kind of they call, that is a good zone.
So don't be bashful, guys. I know you got questions. I can see it in your eyes.
So I'll fire one out.
Yeah, Graham.
All right. So when I am getting ready to go out, I like to mix like complementary colors.
Beautiful.
You know, like this blue shirt, I wore this today, and with some brown jeans and a classic pair of brown Royals. Uh,
Cool.
I'm one of the maybe few guys, and it's a bit of a story how I have 13, 14 pair of shoes because I always used to have two. And then I had a friend, and every time I'd see him in a different outfit, he had different shoes. And he goes, well, because I've got all these, I've got casual shoes, I've got classic shoes, I've got suede shoes, I've got leather shoes. So one for every occasion. So I started to invest in shoes, and now I've like, geez, man, I don't even wear half of these.
That sounds like the point. So and then with the complementariness, you're putting the brown with the brown, and then the blue, and that can work. One of the key things, that sounds like a great outfit. One of the key things people do too much of, but you're less at risk of doing it, with a shirt, jeans, and shoes, is just having too many things going on. So there's a kind of classic mistake there. Like if you added black into that outfit, that would
Mm.
just confuse the eye. It's like there's two.
Right, yeah, I wouldn't even, yeah, I wouldn't even think if I needed a jacket, which I didn't today, but if I did need a jacket, I would probably put a brown jacket. Again, I've
Yeah,
got
I
black
would too.
jackets, brown jackets,
Yeah.
blue jackets, but I've always been into fashion, really. I just getting back to that. It's not an ego thing. It just
Yeah.
makes it's who I am. I like to
Yeah.
dress nice.
Yeah, and I came across something. I wish I could track it down, but I think there's about 25% of us for whom looking good, and I'm sorry I can't track it down, but if I come across it, I will flick it to Gary again, for whom looking good is really, a core part of our personality. Then there's other people who it's like, okay, yeah, I pay attention to it, but it's not a big deal. And then there's others who are just like, what is everyone talking about? I'm just getting on with my life. But it's a really key part of well-being and satisfaction and general approach. Yeah. So no,
And whatever the occasion is, if you're getting all dressed up to go out for a Saturday lunch,
yeah,
a little too much. Or if
yeah,
you're going
yeah,
out to a nice restaurant on an evening, well, you spruce it up a little, or at least I do.
yeah, totally. Yeah, that's it. And so yeah, it sounds like and because of that, you're probably developing an eye, right? Like you look at what looks good, and you probably have an instinct around what's working for you and what's not. And that sounds like a great combination.
Yeah, and I've actually one of my best mates. He's always buying jackets, and with different sizes. He goes, "Oh mate, I got this jacket. It'll look great on you, but
Yeah. Oh, don't
it's a
talk to
bit
me
it's a
about
bit
that.
too tight for me. I'm like, well, let me try it on. But he always gets good quality,
Oh, he does.
good
Oh, that's
quality clothes, and I'm like, geez, mate, I don't need another jacket. How much do you want for it?
nice. Yeah, well, I thought where you were going with that might be that he thinks it would look good on you, but you knew that it wouldn't,
Well,
because that's kind of
actually, not that I bought everything because he does come to me a lot, but I've really like he offered me. I'd never even heard of this brand, and they've been around for decades. He said, "Oh mate, I bought this Bell staff. Have you heard of Bell staff?"
I haven't.
Oh, like when I say motorbike jacket, it's not leather. It doesn't look like a motorbike jacket, but it was tailored for people on motorbikes, and
Nice.
it's a very cool jacket. And honestly, when I go out in that jacket, it's I'm going to say every time you will get a comment on that jacket.
Compliments.
Oh
Yeah.
mate, I love the bell staff. And I didn't even know what a bell staff was, but I tried it on and I'm like, you know what, this is different. This
Yeah.
isn't, but it's different. And now it's my favorite jacket.
That's
So
so
Graham, you may need to wear it more.
well. I think that was what you were prompting me of earlier, was this saying, I don't know if Gary, do you know JB Braden, the
Yeah.
speaker?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, so he said to me when we first met that he used to tell his softball team to look good when they turned up to softball, because when you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you play good. And I was like, JB, I'm taking that. That's awesome. That's a great story. And it's just, he even on this on the softball pitch, or whatever you call the softball field, um, he saw it carry across. Yeah.
So that spurred another thought and a memory in me because back in my old days as a financial planner, it was a Sunday. I was working in the yard and I needed to go to the grocery store. And I figured that, hey, I'm just going to go into the store, get a couple of things, and walk out again. And I go to the store, and my number one most wealthy client was in the store. And I was just beyond myself. I mean, it was just like it taught me a lesson. So the
Yeah.
question for you is how do we translate when we're in the business arena, when we're showing
Mhm.
up to do a speech or a
Mm.
conversation, a networking event, or when we're casual? How do we transfer over to the casual side?
Yeah. So your authentic style can dial up or dial down depending on the tone of the environment. So if we said you're giving a speech to an elite group in a formal context, let's call that a 10. And if you were going to the beach in your flip-flops and swimwear, let's call that a 1. And so every environment's going to be somewhere between the 1 and the 10. But what stays consistent across all of them is your authentic style. So if you're if you're in a place where you could bump into your audience, then you want to maintain that consistent, this is really me. And I think if you want to just have a good day, you want to dress in a way that just feels like really you. So, but it's not going to necessarily be ready to go on stage. So you still flatter your body shape, you still dress according to your style persona, because that is how you're going to have the best day, let alone who you're turning up for. And it's going to help you to give that consistent image. But I think the thing is always to not drop to that level of just acceptable. So under attuned is like acceptable, as in you're not being taken to the police station for what you're wearing. And you at least are out in society dressed, and kind of tick the box, you're there. And I think for any of us who've got a public persona, we don't really ever want to drop to that level of just being acceptable dressed. You want to be attuned, like, what is this environment show? Because it's very hard for people to go from acceptable to authoritative, to make that leap, whereas they could see you at the petrol station or at the grocery store and understand that it's a Sunday and you're walking the dog, but if you kind of look sloppy and unkempt and just made it here, it doesn't really give that idea of someone who's now ready on Monday to have a conversation with me about what you can offer my business. So yeah, it's
So
just
what I'm hearing is whenever we go out, if we were to meet the next biggest client in the world, wherever that is, not to be embarrassed how we're dressed.
yeah.
And that doesn't mean showing up in a tux to go grocery shopping.
No, exactly. It just means because that doesn't feel attuned either. Then you make this weird kind of like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, weird.
Wearing a suit to get groceries.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the
so
attuned.
Bonnie,
Oh man, I'm not sure if I want to worry about whether I'm wearing my Metallica t-shirt or not in the grocery store.
I
But
don't
I
know.
get it.
I didn't know you well enough. I didn't know what your so my method would be, I call it my purpose-led presence method, because it's all about what's your purpose, what's your context, who are you in your personality, and I can imagine situations where that could totally fit. I can
Oh,
in
me
those
too.
in that context. Um,
Right. But I get Gary's saying, I mean, you're grocery shopping, you're in your own world on a Sunday. When you even think about what's happening on Monday with whoever you're working with. But yeah, it's something to think about. I do have a question though. I'm not a dress wearer. If I ever wear a skirt, it's like floor length. That's it. Otherwise, I wear pants. Um, and so if we're wearing a pants and like a jacket type of thing with a colorful blouse, for stage, is it a taboo to wear jacket and pant of different colors that each match the shirt, or should the jacket and pant always be the same color?
no, it's not taboo at all. You could totally do that. It's totally, yeah, you could totally we call it color blocking. So, say we play that out, you've got a yellow, green, blue, and pink floral pattern on your shirt, and you do yellow jacket, green trousers, that's color blocking. That could be quite fun. It is also about balance, and whether it looks harmonious. But yeah, there's definitely ways that could be done.
Fabulous. I took a guess and I'm okay because
Nice.
I wore that to something important already and I was like, this is good. I wonder if this is okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Okay,
That's a
thank you.
good question to ask yourself is my eye, does my eye settle? You know, when you look at it, when you look at a look, does
Mm.
my eye kind of go, ah, or am I kind of looking all over the place trying to make sense of it? That's when it's too much, or the proportions aren't right, or accessories are wrong, or colors are mismatched, or you just want that sense of like, ah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I understand that. Thank you.
Cool.
Mm.
So who else has a question for Nina?
And then there was something Bonnie said, does next level mean just a bit up from the audience? Yeah, totally. Or can we be intimidating? Yes. Yeah. So if you, dressed at a 10 when the audience is at a 4, you could definitely be too intimidating, and then you don't feel it, it's not attuned. You've lost the attunement. So the authoritative piece has to be built on top of attunement and authenticity, and then just that next level, but still within, within what's attuned to their.
I think it was the Oscars this year that Adam Sandler came in shorts, flip-flops, and a hoodie. And
I
they made
didn't
a
see
big
that.
deal out of it. It was part of the stick for
Yeah.
the event. And so, but normally, yeah, you don't do that.
No. Completely unattuned, out of attunement, and obviously making a statement.
I have a question. Back to what you just said about dress too highly for the audience if the audience is a 4 and you show, how would you know that ahead of time? If part of your thing is I like to dress personally. I
Yeah.
dress well. I have a lot
Nice.
of designer things. I dress well. I've collected it over the years, right?
Yes.
So that I could have a lovely wardrobe. And usually I have necklaces. The fact that I don't have any on today, I'm
It's unusual.
I'm a little naked, and it's unusual,
Yeah.
right? But so how can you gauge that if you're
Yeah.
speaking in front of an audience as to whether or not? Because isn't it on some level aspirational?
Yeah, you are definitely turning up as an inspirational person that they would like, they would feel an affinity to, but would aspire to learn from, to be like in some kind of way, for sure. So yeah, I think it's the 410, for example. We know a few things about different industries, like your traditional conservative industries versus your casual industries. And then, so casual tends to be like IT, creative, marketing. Then your formal are your lawyers, accountants, big 4 professional services firms. Then, business casual tends to be the things in between. And so then if you're also not sure, then it never hurts to just ask the organizer, what's the dress code, or what were people, and I always couch that in, like, I want to, in a service oriented kind of question, like that's about helping them get a great result. So, I really want to smash this presentation. I know that how I turn up is going to be part of it on the day. So, what have you seen work in terms of dress code, or yeah, what dress code are people wearing? What do people generally wear? And I guess evening things tend to be a little bit more dressed up. Lunchtime things tend to be a little bit more on the casual side. So there's a few clues, but you're right, you can't always know.
I have a follow-up because I do creative and marketing. How do jeans fall into that?
Jeans, Farah, like for you, oh, I have so much fun with jeans. You say jeans and I go, oh, fun.
I love
Because yes, because jeans, you can do jeans, like there are a few things in fashion where they're just super versatile. And there are different types of jeans. So, we might be imagining different things when we talk about it. But if you're in creative, you can absolutely rock the jeans if you are setting the tone with your shoes and with the blazer and, with other things. So yeah, I think if that's your space, then you could be having so much fun with jeans.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now I want to see your wardrobe.
So, Cheryl had, kind of following up with that is women's shoes and high heels.
Women's shoes, high heels. Is the question about being on stage with Cheryl's with Sherry? I'm not quite sure what the question is there.
Well, I'm guessing it's something that we talk about. Heels, accentuates at times, but maybe the difference between flats and heels and having something in between.
Oh yeah, for the tone of the environment. So shoes in general can really help to set the tone. They're one of the things that is like a clue, if you like, to how you see this environment and to being attuned. So like to give an example, Barbara could do her jeans and blazer and t-shirt. And if she's wearing, kicks and little sneaker things, then she's out she could be doing workshops, she could be on the weekend, she could be kind of going between all those things. But if she swaps in a killer pair of stilettos, then suddenly she's got this funky kind of tension going on, but the tone is completely different, where she could be wearing that to, depending on the company, maybe a board meeting, right? So you could kind of see how the shoes really change the tone. And yeah, so I'm still not exactly sure of the question to answer there, but I think
Cheryl?
hopefully that's helpful, just to draw attention to the fact that shoes really can help set the tone. Yeah.
It wasn't my question, but I think it was Karen that posted it. I think
Sherry Bain. Yeah.
Oh, it was Sherry Bainbridge that did it.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
because you had said
Sherry.
Cheryl,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, Cheryl. Did I say Cheryl?
No,
Yeah.
no, Gary
Well,
did.
I
Gary
did.
did.
All I
Yeah.
saw was the first abbreviation of the name, and I thought it was Cheryl, not Sherry.
Yeah, no, I think the question, if just and I'm making an assumption just because I know Sherry. I think the question is whether for stage presence you have to have the high heels. And I don't think that's the case. Am I crazy in thinking that?
Yeah, no, you're not crazy, because fashion is just so much more postmodern, than it used to be. And like the 50s, the 40s, they were the days when there were really strict rules around, blue and black and green and blue and pink and red. And now, it doesn't take much to just search online and see celebrities rocking all of these apparent clashes. And they can look incredible. So, and for some people, that's part of your style. It's like bringing a clash, bringing a piece of fun, bringing something unexpected. So that's where like the style persona piece is so much more liberating, because it's like, how do we that's my honor and my challenge, is to translate someone's style persona into their context and go like, how do we get you feeling like you're in the second skin of a superhero for what you need to do?
One of the things that I've noticed with heels, and Nina, maybe you can help me with this too, is some of us have issues with feet and ankles. I've had the wrong leg operated on, so I've got some ankle issues. I like to have a little bit of heel. It gives a little more presence, and I'm short, so I like to have a little bit of height to it to match the personality. I sneak around that by wearing the chunky heels of various types of boots. You'll see me with my show cowboy boots on that drive Gary crazy, other types of boots too. But I think there's no real hard, fast rule. You can get away with things like that. You can find that personality style to come through that will still give you those pieces like a high heel would, without breaking an ankle. Not everybody can wear a 4-inch stiletto heel. I know I certainly can't anymore, but
Gary can't. I can tell he can't.
Gary rocks stilettos. You should see him. It's amazing. An open toe
No
stiletto.
No, but don't challenge me.
Oh yeah, he'll do it. He'll wear it with his crown. Trust me. And he does have a crown.
But no, I wore stilettos once when I was giving a workshop, and it was a 2-hour workshop. And afterwards I thought, what is going on with my ankles? Like, killing, ouch, hurting. This is bad. I'm not going to do that again. And I didn't have to wear stilettos. I could have worn other shoes. I just wanted it, like, just a little bit of height. And but then, there's other things we can use to set the tone and to convey that I'm here, I'm delivering. It doesn't have to be shoes. And you're right, platforms can be fantastic. Wedges are often easier to wear because there's more shoe there, there's more support under the foot. Yeah, and I've even seen people, there's someone I work with in New York who's a speaking coach, a dialect and speaking coach, but not speaking. Yeah, it's more like a dialect kind of that type of coaching. And she told me that she turned up, and this would absolutely so work for her style and work for the environment that she was talking about, in these platform sneakers, basically, that had gold and diamantes on them. And then she had this big wide leg pant and oversized jacket and a smart top underneath. And it was just like, oh, that's just perfect for her. Her style persona is the striking minimalist. So, she was absolutely striking and had a totally minimalist look. And yeah, it was really, really fun.
One of the things that I really appreciate about what you've been teaching around, Nina, is once you have your style,
Yeah.
your comfort zone. One of the secrets that I have done is when I'm going to an event, most of the events have happened before, or if it's a corporate event, I can go online. They have pictures. Look at how people have attended other events the same way. And then
Yeah.
I can do just one little bit above and feel very comfortable that I'm not going to stand out like a sore thumb,
Yeah.
either underdressed or overdressed.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it.
So, but the first part is you have to know what your style is. And
That's
we promised everybody 75 minutes. We've gone a couple of minutes over, but I want you to tell people how they can connect with you.
great. Yeah. Take advantage of the Style Persona quiz if you would like it. I'll somehow through Gary, I will give you a coupon code so you can get that as a gift. And yeah, just enjoy that. You're welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Maybe Gary, I'll give you my profile there as well.
If you're nice to me.
I'll send that to you. What's that?
I said, if you're nice to me.
If I'm nice to you, can I? Yeah. How else do I need to be nice to Gary?
Oh, I just you got to be my best friend instead of some of the other people that we have common connections.
Sure, I love it.
Yeah, Cheryl just stuck her tongue out.
Yeah.
It was
And
funny. Cheryl came to me and she goes, "Hey, do you know Nina?" I go, "Yeah, we've already talked." She goes, "You suck." Yes, you did. So anyway, but
fun.
yeah,
And I
so
have a
yeah, just
website, so I'll include that in there.
if you would just email me all of it, we'll get everything out to everybody. I'll have Rachel send it out and make sure that you guys get it. If by chance it doesn't get to you, just reach out to me and we'll make sure it gets to you. So
Amazing.
any last thoughts, Nina?
I think just that everyone in this room has already gone, so hard and committed so much and taken so many risks to get to the point where you can give a message that inspires people and that takes them from where they are to where they really want to be. That style is this tool that helps you do that more effectively. And if you, feel fabulous about it, you're going to play that game to your ultimate degree. So go for it. I love what you're all doing. I love being in business. I love the power of speaking. And yeah, it's so great to have been here. Thank you, Gary.
Well, you're very welcome. And thank you guys for, investing some hours of your evening. Some of you are in different time zones, so it's later than earlier. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And please, again, reach out to Nina. She is of the same mindset as everyone in my community. and we haven't known each other very long, but she is here to stay. So, you know, it's really fun to meet people of like minds.
Thank you,
So,
Gary. Likewise.
well, everyone, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your evening, what is left of it, and we'll see you on another call.
See you again.
Yeah.
Bye. We lost Cheryl too. Cheryl's gone. Is there a way to save the chat, Gary?
Yes, hold on.
Okay. Gary has a story.